time is now 7:17. We just made our way down these cliffs to meet Roberto, who's gonna come in, and then we'll load all our gear. It looks pretty flat today, and even though when we first arrived, I really thought that it was gonna be bad conditions the entire time, it looks like we'll be able to go out today and possibly Saturday and Sunday, or instead of Sunday, Monday. So we should have a full 3 days of diving on the boat. Got everyone suited up. Ezra, Kenny, Matthew. If you guys have been paying attention to my past couple videos, you'll know that I constantly complain about my dive tan, and people at school have asked me if I wear contour because of this tan. And in order to avoid this tan, Ezra has this special sunscreen. Where'd you get it?
Chocolate.
Chocolate butter. Where'd you find this stuff?
I found this in Costa Rica at a surf shop. It's what the surfers wear when they're out in the sun for like 5 hours during the day.
And look at Kenny. This guy's like a pure samurai over here.
Applied it liberally.
So as soon as I hopped off the boat, I started loading my 115 Pathos roller. After you place your rolling band onto the top loading notch, you load the bottom of the band onto a holding notch at the bottom. There are 3 of these notches for various ranges of power. Then back on the top, you put a load assist to help you load the roller band because it's way too difficult to load without one. And once you have that load assist onto the shooting notch, you pull the roller band onto the shooting notch and the load assist just falls to the side. You then use the load assist to help you load the kicker band, and the kicker band is basically just a regular band. Unlike the rolling band, this one does add recoil to the gun. Once you have both bands onto the shooting notches, your gun is loaded and ready to shoot. Usually when I do blue water spearfishing, I use a breakaway system, and all that is a specific rig that makes sure that when I shoot the gun, the spear shaft shoots out connected to the float line, which is connected to a bungee on the top, which just gives the fish a bit of play. That way the spear shaft doesn't just rip out of a soft flesh fish. And lastly, that bungee is connected to a float. For me, this is better than using a reel because all that line in the water can be a big safety hazard, and it also ensures that I will not lose my gun. On my first dive down, I was greeted with tons of smaller fish, but I didn't really know what they were, so I didn't try to shoot them. Kenny and I were doing one up, one down, while Matthew and Ezra were doing the same. It's always great to know that someone on the surface is watching your back and also can provide any assist if you were to shoot a fish. We spent around 2 hours throwing flashers in the blue water, but unfortunately, we were just not seeing any game fish. But during that time, I decided to go for a diving PR and got down to 64 feet, which I was pretty hyped about. We decided to go do some reef hunting. That way we could mix it up a bit, especially because we were seeing nothing out in the blue water, and we also thought that we'd have better luck doing something that we were more used to in Northern California. I figured out pretty quickly that I did not want to be shooting my 115 roller gun into these rocks because I knew it would just end up bending the shaft and render the gun useless for the rest of the trip.
Hey, did you bring your 75? Yeah. Is it on the boat?
We ended up getting Kenny's Mares gun off the boat and we were good to go. Shortly after, I pointed out a big parrotfish to Kenny and he went down to take the shot. From the surface, I watched Kenny go down, taking cover behind some rocks, waiting for the pink parrotfish to come in closer. It was a perfect setup until I watched him aim, line up a nice headshot, then he proceeded to just stare at the fish and swam back up to the surface. Apparently Kenny wasn't a big fan of parrotfish, so he decided not to take that shot. But personally, I think they taste great and I had 0 fish in the kill bag, so I went down for the shot. But at this point, the parrotfish understood that it was being targeted and it quickly swam for cover. Because it was being so skittish, I wasn't able to get a good shot, so I went back to the surface to re-strategize. By the time I had finished my breathe up, the parrotfish had gotten out of cover and was eating stuff off of this rock. I knew that if I swam directly towards it would spook again, so I swam off to the side hoping it wouldn't see me as a threat. Unfortunately, that strategy didn't really work, but when I saw it swim off, I knew there was a route I could take to swim after it using the rock as cover and then last second pop out and take a shot. The last second interception strategy had worked perfectly. And just like that, I had my first Baja fish. Kenny and I took a couple more dives around the reef, trying to get some fish, but we were pretty unsuccessful. We weren't really seeing much. I expected to see some snapper or grouper. We didn't really see too many of those, but we did see some smaller game fish, which I wasn't too interested in, but Kenny went after a couple, and he was targeting mainly glass eye, like this red one that you see come out. But Like I said, we were pretty unsuccessful. Before I knew it, the first dive day was over. But on the way back, we spotted a pod of dolphins, and because I had never swam with dolphins before, I asked Roberto if we could jump in. I was completely amazed just watching them roam freely, and their noticeable curiosity just shocked me. And as I approached them spinning, it incited some chatter among them. Even though they seemed to be just cruising along, they were super fast and we had to sprint to keep up with them.
I just finished up at the reef. I got that one pair of fish, and then Ezra shot a trigger fish. Other than that, no catches. We're going to go check the buoys that they put by the shore, see if there's any mahi in that area. We're nearing the end of the day because conditions are going to start to get pretty rough in just a couple hours. Kenny, what are your thoughts on the water?
The viz is good. The water's like too warm.
The water's too warm.
Yeah.
You're wearing a 3 mil?
Yeah, it's a 3.
Yeah. And you're too hot?
Yeah, I'm like sweating.
Ezra, what do you think? You're ready, took off.
I had to get rid of the bottoms.
Yeah?
I'm gonna swim and the water feels so good. It's gonna be nice.
Matthew's just chilling up there, so we'll ask him later. All right.
Alright, so you got the next
Hooked up onto a mahi on the way back in, trolling. It's a lot harder than fighting like those little rockfish, huh?
This is rockfish, this is a winch fish.
Yeah, you're like, zoom, zoom.
I feel like it's not that big, but like, it's not.
It didn't look too big, but it's still edible size. All this is the gaffing job.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
Lighter.
woo! Nice, that's a good one. First mahi of the trip. There it is.
This thing's seriously huge.
All right. Yeah, nice.
Man, crazy.
That's good.
Be out here, freaking white as hell.
We did 2 drops at the buoys, and I actually was able to see quite a few fish, even though visibility was pretty bad. When I went down to grab my flasher, I saw this jack crevalle just swimming along, but because I wasn't too used to aiming this gun, you could see I was just waving it back and forth, and by the time I finally get it situated and get the fish lined up, it was already on the way out. So with no fish and completely forgetting about my flasher, I headed back up.
Well, we're all done with dive day 1. Kenny got 1 mahi on the rod. I got that parrotfish, and Ezra got that triggerfish. Not a huge haul, but hey, it's a starter. I'm hoping that conditions will be better on Sunday when we go, because if that viz is better, then you have a better chance of getting pelagics. This is what the end of the dive day looks like. Yeah, now day 2. Dive day number 4 today. Roberto's gonna be picking us up in a bit.
We loaded up the boat and sped off. Before 8 a.m. we were already in the water. On the very first drift, we saw tons of fish. I think they were amberjacks, but both Kenny and I couldn't get close enough to ID them well or even get a shot. This is probably the closest I got to them, and the spear gun would definitely not have made the shot. So both Kenny and I were just stuck here, getting teased by a huge school of fish just out of range.
Those aren't amberjacks.
What are they?
They're some kind of like,
Jack?
no. It's like some kind of big mullet or something.
A couple moments after throwing one of the flashers, I noticed there was a wahoo swimming away from it. I was really confused on why it was swimming away from the flasher rather than towards it, and I couldn't believe that I didn't notice it when it was closer.
Teddy, did you see that wahoo that just passed us?
After I saw it swim right past us, I thought he had the best shot and was wondering why he didn't even take a shot. But he told me it swam right behind me and I didn't notice, and it would have been way too risky to try to take a shot. After throwing the flasher a couple more times, I finally saw wahoo close enough to me to take the shot. And I completely botched a point blank shot. It's devastating even watching it now. Kenny tried to line them up on the surface, but he was just way too far away to even take a shot. So I got back on the boat, completely devastated, knowing I had just missed the best opportunity I would probably get on this trip. Everyone saw multiple wahoo that day, but no one landed a shot. So we made the decision to go back to the reefs and see if our luck and our skill would be better there. We found so much life: glass eye, yellowtail snapper, goatfish, the occasional parrotfish, and small grouper, but just like the last dive, not one of us spotted a big game fish. So for the last half hour of the trip, we turned in our guns and switched them for rods.
Catch mahi.
Go down and then reel up.
No.
Am I doing the wrong way?
Wow. Reel.
Go.
Just keep reeling. All right. Let's go. Small mahi, but mahi nonetheless. Nice. Oh snap! Just jumped.
No rockfish though. Look at that thing.
Nice. Right? That's crazy. They definitely fight way harder than rockfish. Just quickly stopped for 2 mahi on the way back, and that's the end of dive day number 2 on the boat. We had plenty of opportunities today to get a wahoo and just a novice to go today. We're on the 3rd day of boat diving. Got Matthew and Kenny. Ezra hopping on because he was the straggler today. We are going to be going spearfishing for the first half, then fishing with the rods along the buoys for the second half, just to secure some fish. That plan might change to just blue water drops. I think we're all pretty intent on getting a wahoo. So when you want to dive at 7 but have work at 10.
And right off the bat, I had another opportunity for a wahoo. But in my complete panic, I threw the flasher wrong the first time, and the second throw didn't really do much because the wahoo was long gone.
Kenny, did you see those? 3 wahoo.
I had one more opportunity on a wahoo around 25 feet deep, way too out of range. And after that, the dive day just became a game of fetch. Bored after not seeing anything for hours, I daydreamed about retaking that point-blank shot that I had on the wahoo the other day. Once again unsuccessful, we turned in our guns.
3rd day spearfishing on the boat done. Nothing caught today. That's it. We will be back. We will be back and we will catch more. And then we also have tomorrow. They're probably shore dive if conditions allow it. As a quick outro, we decided to leave La Ventana because the hurricane is approaching. We thought it'd be better to stay in Los Cabos and then exit there later. Check out these waves. You probably can't see the magnitude of these waves just from the GoPro, but
I'm like scared to
these
stand
things
here,
are
dude.
huge.
This is only a category 1 hurricane. Imagine if it's category 5. Hurricane swell.
It's enormous. To the California crabbers, does this look like a good Dungeness spot? No Dungeness crab, but there is this crab right here. Check that out. This
Bro,
thing
it's
is running super
uphill.
fast.
Cool. What is up with that? It's just chilling. Yeah, dude, these things run fast, bro.
Dude, it's just running.